We are now live. We'll be starting very shortly.
Welcome all to the PANAcon Showcase for 2025.
All right, welcome everyone to our very first PANAcon Showcase, Narrator Showcase, where we will be having narrators performing throughout the night. They'll be performing snippets and taking turns for the next couple of hours. Just a few housekeeping rules for the narrators performing. Please have your audio live when it's your turn. You will turn on your sound and your camera when you're spotlit. And I will start the timer after you introduce yourself. So please do introduce yourself. Give your name, where you're from, and what you will be performing. And we unfortunately will have to cut you off if you get to the time limit. You will hear a timer go off. And then when you're done, please do go to the YouTube chat and enter your information so that if anyone wants to contact you, they can do so based on what you put in for them. Okay, and we are ready to begin. We have on deck, we have Tina Nakla, and after that on standby is Jenny Myers, and we will begin with Chris Tester. If you would come on, put on your camera and microphone. All right, there he is. And go ahead and introduce yourself.
You need to unmute.
Unmute as well.
Okay, I am now. Okay, sure. My name is Chris Tester. Hi, I'm a British actor based in London, England, and today I will be reading some literary fiction from A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I wish I believed in some sort of life after life. That in another universe, maybe on a small red planet where we have not legs but tails, where the air itself is sustenance, and all one has to do is open one's mouth and inhale in order to remain alive and healthy, maybe you two are there together, floating through the climate. Or maybe he is closer still. Maybe he is that grey cat that has begun to sit outside our neighbour's house, purring when I reach out my hand to it. Maybe he is that new puppy I see tugging at the end of my other neighbour's leash. Maybe he is that toddler I saw running through the square a few months ago, shrieking with joy, his parents huffing after him. Maybe he is that flower that suddenly bloomed on the rhododendron bush I thought had died long ago. Maybe he is that cloud, that wave, that rain, that mist. It isn't only that he died, or how he died. It is what he died believing. And so I try to be kind to everything I see. And in everything I see him.
All right on time. Thank you very much, Christopher. And we are moving on to Tina, if you would unmute. Is Tina here?
She was.
Okay,
Move
we
to
can
the
move
next.
on.
We'll get her back.
Yeah, we can. I'll get her when she comes back. If she comes back, let's. Oh, there she is. Here's Tina. Okay, go ahead and unmute and introduce yourself. We can send her an unmute invitation if it's not working. Oh, there she goes.
Finally.
Okay.
Because it was saying the host was not allowing me to unmute.
Oh, no.
It's like click, click, click. Yeah. So now
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Tina Nachle Falconbury, and I'm in Huntley, Virginia. My book is children's fantasy, The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnett. At the edge of the swamp, standing right on the fringe of flowering reeds, a very old woman leaned on a gnarled staff. She was short and squat, and a bit bulbous about the belly. Her name was Zan, and she was the witch. "Do you think you can hide from me, you ridiculous monster?" she bellowed at the swamp. "It isn't as though I don't know where you are. Resurface this minute and apologize." She pressed her expression into something closely resembling a scowl. "Or I will make you." Though she had no real power over the monster himself, he was far too old. She certainly had the power to make the swamp cough him up as though he were nothing more than a glob of phlegm in the back of the throat. "I mean it," she hollered. The thick water bubbled and swirled, and the large head of the swamp monster slurped out of the bluish green. He blinked his wide eyes, then rolled them towards the sky. Don't you roll your eyes at me, young man, the old woman huffed. Which? The monster murmured, his mouth still half submerged in the thick waters of the swamp. I'm many centuries older than you. His wide lips blew bubble in the algae slick. Millennia, really, he thought. But who's counting?
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Tina.
Thank you.
That was also right on time. Everybody's doing a wonderful job. Up next, we have Jenny Myers. Welcome, Jenny. We may have to send unmute invitations, but she's looking for it.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful. Introduce yourself, please, Jenny.
Okay. Hello, I'm Jenny Myers. I'm from British Columbia, Canada, and I'm doing a literary fiction piece from Circle of Friends by Maeve Binchy.
Okay, wonderful. Before you begin, I just want to say that Barbara Hensley is on deck with Aesha on standby. Go ahead, Jenny.
Mother Frances was kneeling down beside Frank Hegarty's mother. In a few days, when the funeral's over, I want you to come and stay with me, she said softly. The ravaged face looked at her. What do you mean? Who are you? I'm someone like you. I've lost my child in a sense. I could tell you about it. Maybe you could advise me. You see, I'm not a real mother. You are. I was. Kit smiled, a terrible, twisted grimace. No, you are. You still are. You'll always be his mother. Nobody can take that away from you. And all you gave him, all you did for him. I didn't give him much. I didn't do much for him. I let him have that bike. She clawed at Mother Frances's hand as she spoke. But you had to. You had to give him freedom. That was the greatest gift. That was what he would have wanted most. You gave him the best he could want. Nobody had said anything like this to Kit all day. Somehow, she managed to take a proper breath, not the little shallow gasps she had been giving up to now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jenny. Beautiful. And as we are bringing up Barbara Hensley, I just want to take a minute to remind you all, please celebrate the narrators, both in the Zoom and the YouTube chat. Show them some love. Can we please have Barbara Hensley? We have Aesha Zephyr on deck with Kathrin on standby. Barbara Hensley. Oh, there she is. Wonderful. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Barbara Hensley. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm reading a bit of historical fiction today. The excerpt is from 100 Crickets Singing, written by Kathy Golke.
Okay, wonderful. You may begin.
March 1944, No Creek, North Carolina. 14-year-old Celia Percy helped Chester, her 11-year-old brother, drag a heavy tarp from the barn, through the house, and up to the attic, where the house gave up its 200-year-old secret. Celia wasn't sure she could believe her eyes. It's a room! A whole room under the eaves! Been sealed off somehow, she said, goose flesh creeping up her pink arms. You reckon Miss Lil ever knew about this place? Chester, brown eyes wide, said as he pulled an ancient trunk to the middle of the room. Never said. At least not to me. Don't know how they could have known there's no door. Celia could hardly believe such a mystery room existed. Look here. There's a door. Been sealed off is all. Chester jiggled the knob. Locked. Why would anybody do that? Celia couldn't fathom. It's a mystery. Celia caught her breath, thrilled to her core. Sure enough. Let's see what's in those trunks. There was nothing Celia wanted more than to rummage through those trunks, but it was up to her to see that she and Chester got to school on time. After school. We have to wait till after school. But Celia...
Thank you so much, Barbara. Lovely. And we are going to move right on to Aesha Zephyr. Hopefully, yes, she is checked in. Aesha. And after her is Kathrin on deck with Rebecca. Rebecca's on standby. Okay, Aesha, why don't you introduce yourself?
Aesha Zephyr, Panama City, Panama, and I'll be reading Humor and Satire. The book name is The Answer is No by Frederick Bachman. Lucas is happy. This is a very provoking thing to the world because people aren't supposed to be happy. They're only supposed to want to be happy. Because how otherwise are you supposed to be able to sell things to them? More than anything, people are supposed to pretend to be happy on the internet so that other people are reminded of how unhappy they themselves are by comparison. Humanity has a system. But Lucas? He's just happy. It wasn't even particularly difficult. All he did was to remove the one thing that makes almost all people unhappy. Other people. Whatever they want. The answer is no. Now, there's probably some poor reader out there who's going to protest with some nonsense along the lines of, well, actually, humans are herd animals, and that may be true. But more than anything else, humans have historically proved to be in need of therapy animals. And do you, dear reader, happen to know what the reason for all this therapy is? That we have company. Absolutely zero people go to therapy because yesterday they were sitting in a comfortable chair, eating a perfect pizza, drinking a good glass of red wine, watching a really funny movie. So that's how Lucas lives, all the time. If you imagine how you would spend a free evening, not an evening where you've planned things out, but an evening in which all your plans have suddenly... Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Aesha. All right, wonderful. All right, next up is Kathrin Kana with Rebecca on deck, and Rob is on standby. Kathrin Kana.
Hi, this is Kathrin Kana. I'm calling in from Los Angeles. I'm reading a thriller of the book series Nuclear Dawn. This particular book is called Into the Fire by Kyla Stone. Oh, Eden. No, no, no. How could she? Eden was weak. She was compliant and meek, passive and gullible. She always had been. Maddox stood outside that door and enticed her with honeyed lies, and she'd believed him, let herself be led astray like a lamb to the slaughter. And now Ezra would die for it. After everything we've been through, everything we've sacrificed. No, Ezra said. You have it wrong. She did it for you. She stared at him, bewildered. She couldn't think straight. His words didn't make sense. What do you mean? She gave herself up to save you, girl. Dakota rocked back on her heels. No, she got you shot. I was already shot. He breathed heavily, his eyelids fluttering, his face ashen. Blood soaked the cement beneath him. It was too late for me. She did it for you. Dakota was speechless. Her lungs constricted like a giant fist was slowly squeezing the life out of her. Only 20 minutes ago, she'd been triumphant. She'd thought they'd won. Then everything she'd worked so hard for had been ripped away in an instant. She'd lost Logan. Ezra, a man she loved like a father, was dying. She hadn't kept Eden safe like she promised.
All right, Kathrin, right on time. Thank you so much. Such great talent this evening. We are chugging right along. Wonderful job. We are moving on to Rebecca. Rebecca Uesugi, please forgive me for butchering your name. Rob Ryder is on deck with Elena Anderson on standby. Rebecca.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Jensen Uesugi. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I will be reading a historical fiction titled Evergreen by Naomi Hirahara. I spied something red on his upper arm and lifted his shirt sleeve. Bruises the pattern and color of smashed raspberries. Not fresh, but not months old either. What's happened here? Nandemo nai, he said in a low voice, as if he didn't want anyone to hear. Realizing that I was a Nisei and might not understand much Japanese, he said it in English too. Nothing. I got a cotton gown out of the cupboard and left it next to him on the examination table. Can you get dressed in this? Doshite? I only have my head problems. The doctor will probably want to do a thorough checkup. No need, he insisted. Please, Watanabe-san, I said as firmly as I could. I had found that attaching san to their names usually softened the most distraught of Issei patients. I left the examination room, closing the door behind me to give him some privacy. Dr. Isokane appeared from around the corner. He had been in Santa Anita Assembly Center, and then Manzanar, like us, and then Topaz after that, serving other Japanese Americans in bleak wartime camps. He was older than my father and should have been thinking of retirement, but instead he had dedicated himself to those who had been exiled.
Okay, Rebecca, wonderful job. Thank you so much. And we are going to be moving on to Rob Ryder.
Hi there, I'm Rob Ryder, Cincinnati, Ohio. I am going to do a thriller book called The Cabo Contract by Chris Broyhill. Didn't I just do this? The question races through my mind as I pull the T-38's control stick into my lap and watch the sleek nose rotate skyward in response. The supersonic jet roars off the pavement of runway 16 right at Van Nuys Airport and into the clear Southern California sky. Again, I'm airborne in a high-performance jet, and again, I have to do the impossible. Moments ago, a commandeered Gulfstream G4 lifted off for the Bay Area of California, carrying a gruesome biological weapon and piloted by a madman and his hostage, the woman I love. Van Nuys, this is Talon 5494 Delta. I'm in the turn to the north and maintaining VFR at low altitude. Did you receive verification of an air defense fighter launch? Talon 94 Delta, Van Nuys Tower, affirmative. As the madman heads north, a platoon-sized unit of heavily armed men on a high-speed yacht is headed for Santa Catalina Island to the south. And the damned Secret Service won't tell us if the president is there or not. So now, I'm going to have to be in two places at once. I've got 2 bullets in my already wounded leg, and I'm flying an airplane with no gun, no missiles, and no radar. Luck won't be enough this time. I'm going to need a goddamn miracle.
All right. Perfect timing, Rob. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So on deck, we have T. Anthony Quinn. Kacy Combest is on standby. And up next is Elena Anderson. If you would please join us, Elena. Unmute.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elena Anderson. I'm based in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I'll be reading a young adult paranormal fantasy excerpt from Darkest Hour by Meg Cabot. I pushed the button that rolled the window down. I said. Hi. Hi, Paul said. He was smiling pleasantly. The last of the day's sunlight picked up the gold highlights in his brown curls. He really was, I had to admit, good looking. Kelly Prescott would have eaten him up with a spoon. I suppose you already have plans for tonight, he said. I didn't, of course, but I replied quickly, yes. I figured. His smile was still pleasant. What about tomorrow night? Look, I know I'm a freak, all right? You don't have to tell me. There I was, and this totally hot, totally nice guy was asking me out, and all I could think about was a guy who, let's face it, is dead. All right, Jesse is dead. It's stupid, 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 stupid of me to turn down a date with a live guy when the only other guy I have in my life is literally a ghost.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Elena. All right, we have on deck Kacy Combest. Greg Barnett is on standby, and now we are welcoming T. Anthony Quinn. Tony? I know he's checked in.
There I am.
There you go. Perfect.
Hi, I'm Tony Quinn calling in from Washington, D.C. I'll be reading a detective fiction piece. The title is Last Looks by Howard M. Gould. As he scrubbed one sock in the day's supply of well water, noting that his stitches had not held and the hole in the toe had reopened, he considered once again the problem of the 100 things, as he had every day, every hour of every day, for the past 3 years. The wash bucket was a thing, as was the work shirt he'd just scrubbed, as were the boxers. He knew some minimalists counted all of their clothing as one thing, but not the serious ones. So, the shirt and the jeans and the boxers he was wearing right now were 3 more things, and the windbreaker slung over the post behind him was a 4th. Those were simple. Socks, though. Socks were more complicated, drawing him into the tricky land of plurals and singulars and naming, where the line between reason and rationalization was the disputed border and nothing less than a war for his soul. That battle had raged ever since he resolved to pare his possessions down to the 100. His books, he had decided, were not one library. They were dozens and dozens of things, so he donated them all to a home for indigent seniors and bought a Kindle. Thank you.
Perfect timing. Thank you so much, Tony. Wonderful. We are going to move on to Kacy Combest with Greg Barnett on deck. Sarah K. Peters, you're on standby. And let's welcome Kacy.
Hello. Okay.
Hi there.
I'm Kacy Combest. I am based in Texas. And I am reading the piece is a YA sci-fi called The Taking by Kimberly Durding.
Perfect.
The door opened and I fell into his arms. Thank God you're here. I've had the strangest morning, the strangest night. I have no idea what's going on. Tyler? Who is it? What's going on? I hadn't noticed Tyler, but I drew back from Austin so I could see his mom. It's just me. I just came over because I wasn't sure how I'd planned on finishing my explanation, but I never had the chance. Tamara Wall dropped her mug. The ceramic shards became projectiles as it shattered, sending pieces flying in every direction. Coffee pulled at her feet, but she just stood there, staring at me, her mouth gaping. Mom, it's Kira, Austin said. And for the first time, I realized that this was all wrong too. I looked down at the arms still at my waist, the skin too pale and the hairs too brown. His voice, too, wasn't right. It was deep, yes, but it wasn't Austin's. And then it clicked. This was Tyler Wall. Tyler, who looked far too much like his older brother, my 17-year-old boyfriend, in looks, in stature, and in age. Tyler, who, the last time I'd seen him just the day before, I'd been only 12 years old.
Oh, perfect timing yet again. Wonderful job, Kacy. Thank you so much. Please make sure to celebrate our narrators in the chat, both on Zoom and on the YouTube live stream. And next up, we have on deck Sarah K. Peters, followed by Jocelyn Duford. And up right now, Greg Barnett. Welcome, Greg.
Hi, thanks. Greg Barnett here, tuning in from Los Angeles. I'm going to be reading a children's fantasy called The Candy Shop War by Brandon Mull. Nate and the others passed behind the counter and into the cluttered back room. You hired a helper, Nate said. I did, Mrs. White replied, and there will be more to come. I take it you tried the moon rocks. They were incredible, Summer raved. We seem to jump a lot higher than we would on the moon, Pigeon remarked. Very observant, Mrs. White approved. The moon rocks reduce the effect of gravity between 10 and 12 times, thus imitating an environment of considerably less than lunar gravity. Did you have fun? It was awesome, Nate said. It felt amazing jumping so high. We grabbed onto tree branches and hopped over the creek, and we practiced pushing off stuff to leap sideways. I'm so glad it was enjoyable, Mrs. White said, her smile creating deep dimples in her cheeks. I fell in the creek, Pigeon confessed. We were wondering if you might let us try some more, Trevor said. Or some other magic candy? Summer added. What use would a sample be if there were no more candy to be had? Mrs. White said. Do you have lots of different kinds? Pigeon asked. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Mrs. White said. She lowered her voice, and her demeanor grew more serious. I have more magic candy, but we must reach an agreement before I can share it with you. As you might imagine, magic candy is most difficult to produce, and my supplies are limited. I knew it, Nate huffed.
All right, thank you so much, Greg. Great job. We are moving on to, let's see, on deck is Jocelyn Duford. J.M. Wood, you are on standby, and let's give it up for Sarah K. Peters. Sarah, you're up.
All right. Hi, my name is Sarah K. Peters, and I am in Los Angeles now, originally from Wisconsin, and I'm reading a paranormal cozy called Witchwood by Willa Blackmore. My camera is real funky. Oh, well.
Looks good. Go right ahead. Looks good.
He introduced himself as John Newberry II, Jr. for short. I got this chainsaw outside, he began. Your chainsaw, to be exact. I reckon I stole it, but I don't exactly remember. He looked at me as if he hoped I might be able to shed some light on the situation. Unless one of you little girls gave it to me. I shook my head. Much as we all hated it, we were stuck with the thing, except for the rare occasions when the chainsaw, we called it Larry Joe, magic some poor fool like John into busting it out of the cage we locked it in. I don't remember taking it, but I guess I did, John continued. I remember walking by y'all's place, wondering why you folks had a chainsaw in a cage. I think I probably walked over to it. It ain't every day you see a chainsaw in a cage, you know, so I don't think I was being nosy. Anybody wanted to get a better look. After that, things get kind of fuzzy. Next thing I remember is waking up from a drunk, and there it was, right at the foot of my bed. Anyway, he said, pointing his thumb toward the open door, I brought it back. You can keep it, I told him. It can be one of those things like when you're a kid and you take something, and when you own up to it, whoever you stole it from is so impressed by your honesty they let you have it. This can be one of those situations.
Sorry, that is time, Sarah K. Wonderful job. Thank you. All right, we are going to move on. We have J.M. Wood on deck. Kerie Darner, you are on standby. And please welcome Jocelyn Duford. Jocelyn Duford.
Hello, everyone. Yes, my name is Jocelyn Duford. I am coming to you from Manchester, New Hampshire, and the title I have selected today is called Raising Wrens, a memoir written by Mal Wren Corbett. If there is anyone who resembles the Queen of the Fairies in Worcester, it's my best friend Lilac. She has magic powers. It's something I can feel, but can't really describe. She's the kind of girl who doesn't flinch from anything. She's always calm. She says whatever she wants, whenever she wants, and nobody ever asks her to repeat herself because she talked too low or mumbled and they didn't understand. It makes me a little jealous sometimes, this thing about her that I can't describe. But it's also the reason I love to be her best friend. She sometimes puts words to how I am that make it okay. Mal's not shy, she's selective, she tells people. And then I don't have to do anything more to explain. Maybe Lilac is magical because of her bedroom. It's totally awesome. Her parents let her paint it any color she wanted. Well, except black. Instead, she decided on a crinkly, shiny wallpaper that looks like the helium balloons they fill at the mart downtown. She has posters of C. Thomas Howell and a full-length one of Ralph Macchio. She has so many things I've never considered asking for, like 10,000 Barbies and jewelry boxes filled with lavender and purple plastic beads and ribbons that she weaves onto barrettes and gives out as presents. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Very nice, Jocelyn. All right, we are going to move on. We have Kerie Darner on deck. Bill Jacobson, you are on standby. And J.M. Wood, you're up next. J.M.?
Hello, I'm J.M. Wood, based in Colorado. Today I'll be reading out of Dragons of Autumn Twilight, a D&D kind of fantasy sci-fi written by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Now, the hobgoblin leaned over his saddle. Tanis watched with a kind of horrible fascination as the creature's huge belly completely engulfed the pommel. I am Viewmaster Toad, leader of the forces that are keeping Solace protected from undesirable elements. You have no right to be walking in the city limits after dark. You are under arrest. Viewmaster Toad leaned down to speak to a goblin near him. Bring me the blue crystal staff if you find it on them, he said in the croaking goblin tongue. If they resist, added Viewmaster Toad, switching back to common for grand effect, kill them. With that, he yanked on the reins, flicked his mount with a riding crop, and galloped off down the path toward town. Goblins! In Solace! This new theocrat has much to answer for, Flint spat. Reaching up, he swung his battle-axe from its holder on his back and planted his feet firmly on the path, rocking back and forth until he felt himself balanced. Very well, he announced. Come on. Advise you to retreat, Tanis said, throwing his cloak over one shoulder and drawing his sword. We have no intention of being arrested.
Okay, perfect timing. Thank you so much, J.M. Nice job. All right, Bill Jacobson is on deck. Jacqueline de Boer, you are on standby. Please welcome Kerie Darner. Kerie's up next.
Hello. Am I? Okay, there I
Hi,
am.
there you are.
Hi.
I see you.
I am Kerie Darner. I'm based in Portland, Oregon, and I will be reading a piece that is from a thriller mystery based on a true story called Chasing Shadows, and it is written by A.C. Adams. They got out of the car and walked to the door of a charming Spanish-style cottage in Crown Point, a Bayside neighborhood with homes built in the 1940s. Aidan stared at her with an enigmatic smile. I don't understand. Where is my present? She asked. You're looking at it. You've always loved the beach, so I bought this property for you. He took a key out of his pocket and handed it to her. Sophia felt faint and disoriented. Why didn't you ask me? I don't want to move out. You've been mollycoddled your entire life, and it's time to stand on your own 2 feet. Her face reddened. Just because you're my father, you don't have the right to decide for me. It absolutely is my right, he said with an intensity that rattled her. Despite his extravagant gift, she felt manipulated. But I love the ranch, and there's no place for Gaia here. That's no problem. You can visit your horse whenever you want. Are you mad at me? She asked. It seems like you're forcing me out. Nonsense. You should be delighted. Most people your age would be. Well, I'm not the least bit delighted. Her father was the one person she thought she could trust. How dare he blindside me like this? Aiden gently touched her cheek. Don't be so melodramatic. I thought you'd enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Wonderful. If you're just joining us, welcome to the PANAcon Virtual Narrators Showcase. We are showcasing narrators for another hour and a half, and everyone's doing such a fabulous job. And let's see, next up on deck, Jacqueline de Boer with Rachel Marie Schachter on standby, and Bill Jacobson, you're up. Bill?
I am Bill Jacobson. Do you see?
Do you have video?
I do
Bill?
have video, but somebody turned me off. Let's see. Start video.
Oh, maybe they were trying to turn you on at the same time you were turning off. Well, why don't you get started? I think the someone will get your video on.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
There we are.
I'm Bill Jacobson, Waco, Texas. I'm going to be reading from Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's comic fantasy, I guess is how we'd classify that.
Now, the Bogon said, I will read you some of my poetry.
Arthur Dent squinted. Poetry?
Yes, you are to listen, and then you are to tell me how much you liked it.
The Vogon cleared his throat, a sound like a small, damp, unpleasant animal being dragged from a muddy hole.
Oh, Freddled Gruntbugly, he began, thy micturations are to me as plurtled glabblebots on a lurgid bee. Grope, I implore thee, my funting dirlingdromes, with grungle gurgles are enscrolled.
A horrific noise escaped Arthur's throat.
Do you like it?
The Vogon demanded, his voice dangerously soft. Arthur, gasping for breath, managed. It was certainly something.
Something?
The Vogon's eyes narrowed.
Explain yourself, Earthling.
It was structurally inventive, Arthur stammered, frantically trying to think of something positive. And the use of hyperspatial juxtapositioning of noun verbs was quite arresting.
You're lying!
The Vogon shrieked, a vein throbbing in his forehead.
I know you are lying. I can see it in your eyes.
No, really, Arthur insisted, tears starting to form. I mean, the way you combine the sheer visceral impact of the images with the kind of rhythmic counterpoint. It was truly memorable. The Vogon paused, considering this. A slow, menacing smile spread across his face.
You mean...
I'm sorry. That's time.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
So sorry. No, for some reason it didn't get loud enough, but thank you so much, Bill. Nice job. All right. We have up next, let's see, Rachel Marie Schachter, you are on deck, and Lucinda is on standby with Jacqueline de Boer up next. Jacqueline?
Hello everyone, Jacqueline de Boer, previously of Worcestershire, UK, now in sunny San Diego. I'm going to do a little comedic piece for you today by Dave Barry, and it is entitled How to Argue Like a Veteran Married Couple. We veteran married couples have, over the years, developed certain time-tested techniques that even an inexperienced person can use to turn any issue, no matter how minor, into a vicious, drawn-out argument. the most important technique. Always be on the lookout for conversational openings that can lead to arguments. Let's look at a typical marital conversation. Mary. Sweetheart, could you please try not to leave your socks on the coffee table? John. Of course. I'm sorry, dear. Pretty pathetic, right? Married couples. Mary has created the perfect opening for a good argument, and John has totally dropped the ball by admitting he was wrong. Never admit you're wrong, young married persons. Now, you're saying, but what if John's socks are right there on the coffee table? How can he argue about that? The answer is, he can't. What he can do is get the argument, or at least his end of it, focused on a completely different topic. Ideally, a strident accusation that he has dredged up out of his memory that is totally unrelated to the issue at hand. Let's see how it works. Mary. Sweetheart, could you please try not to leave your socks on the coffee table? John. Why do you always do that? Always do what? Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Nice job. I am loving all of the different genres being presented, and the talent is awesome. We are going to move on with Lucinda, you are on deck. Bob is on standby, and we are bringing up Rachel Marie Schachter. Please forgive me if I didn't say your name right.
No, it's perfect. It's going great.
Oh, okay.
My mom always
wonderful.
told her students Schachter rhymes with tractor, so.
All right, I guessed right. Go ahead.
I'm Rachel Marie Schachter. I'm based outside Boston, Massachusetts, and I will be reading from Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas, which is a YA magical realism retelling. Yes.
Okay.
The woods hummed, a swirl of whispers and gentle weeping. A wind picked up and rustled the leaves. The whispers coaxed and warned Wendy. Was there something there? Hidden under the roots? In the dirt? The voices grew harsh. There's something there, Wendy mumbled. She leaned down, but suddenly Peter stepped in front of her. His large hands gripped her arms. We need to get out of here. His expression was all taut muscles and hard lines. His eyes pleaded with her to listen. He's right, you know. The lazy voice floated down to them through the trees. Wendy and Peter both craned their necks back. Lounging on a thick branch, with its back against the tree, was the shadow. She could clearly make out all its features. It was a haunted, distorted version of Peter. It was made of sharp angles, cheekbones, and a jawline she could cut herself on. In every way that Peter was bright and warm, the shadow was dark and twisted. You really should be more careful. There's no telling what you'll find in these woods. It curled a dead leaf between its pale fingers. Wendy's blood stuttered in her veins, but surging anger pushed her forward. Let them go, Wendy demanded, trying to pull herself free of Peter's grasp. The shadow laughed and dissolved, spilling down the tree like a heavy black fog.
Okay, that is time. Thank you so much, Rachel. Wonderful. We are going to move on. We have Bob Ball on deck. Leonor Woodworth is on standby, and we are bringing up Lucinda Gainey. Lucinda Gainey is up next. There you are. Welcome.
Hello. I'm Lucinda Gainey. I'm in Cary, North Carolina, and I'm reading from a mystery, The Circular Staircase by Mary Roberts Reinhardt. This is the story of how a middle-aged spinster lost her mind, deserted her domestic gods in the city, took a furnished house for the summer out of town, and found herself involved in one of those mysterious crimes that keep our newspapers and detective agencies happy and prosperous. For 20 years, I had been perfectly comfortable. For 20 years, I'd had the window boxes filled in the spring, the carpets lifted, the awnings put up, and the furniture covered with brown linen. For as many summers, I had said goodbye to my friends, and, after watching their perspiring hegira, had settled down to a delicious quiet in town, where the mail comes 3 times a day, and the water supply does not depend on a tank on the roof. And then the madness seized me. When I look back over the months I spent at Sunnyside, I wonder that I survived at all. As it is, I show the wear and tear of my harrowing experiences. The newspaper accounts have been so garbled and incomplete. One of them mentioned me but once, and then only as the tenant at the time the thing happened, that I feel it my due to tell what I know. Mr. Jameson, the detective, said himself he could never have done without me, although he gave me little enough credit in print.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Lucinda. All right, we are going to move on. Oops, she was before the time. And we have Leonor Woodworth on deck, followed by Rich Palmer. And right now we're bringing up Bob Ball. Bob?
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I'm Bob Ball in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm reading from literary fiction, a short story, The Hitchhikers by Eudora Welty.
Okay, we're just trying to get your video.
Okay.
Oh wait, there you are. There's still no video though. Do you have your video
Yeah, it shows that it's on, yes.
It does. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to have to go. Unless maybe, do you have the video maybe off?
Oh, there it
on
goes.
your...
Somebody went
Okay.
off again. So now I'm on.
Okay, yeah, try it
again.
one more time.
Okay. Well.
I think perhaps, do you have your laptop? Are you on a laptop?
Yes.
Do you have the switch off on your camera? Because we're not seeing anything. If not, we'll just have you go, but just...
I have a camera. No, I've been seeing, I think. Just
okay,
fine.
All right. I'm going to let you go then. Go right ahead. Sorry to interrupt. You can start.
Tom Harris cut off the radio, and they listened to the Nickelodeon, which was playing inside the joint. "Hi," said the car hop again as she came out with the tray. They ate the hamburgers rapidly, without talking. A girl came and looked out of the window of the joint, leaning on her hand. The same couple kept dancing behind her. There was something brassy playing, a swing record of love, oh, careless love. "Same songs everywhere," said the man with the guitar, softly. "I come down from the hills. We had us owls for chickens and fox for yard dogs, but we sung true." Nearly every time the man spoke, Harris's cheek twitched. He was easily amused. "That's most the same as a ballad," said the man, licking mustard off his finger. "My ma, she was the one for ballads. Little in the waist as a dirt dauber, but her voice carried. Had her a whole lot of tunes. Long ago, dead and gone. Pa'd come home from the courthouse, drunk as a wheelbarrow, and she'd just pick up and go sit on the front step, facing the hill, and sing. Everything she knowed, she'd sing. Dead and gone, and the house burned down." He gulped at his beer. His foot was patting. "This," said Harris, touching one of the keys on the guitar. "Couldn't you stop somewhere along here and make money playing this?"
Okay, I'm sorry, Bob, but time is up. Nice job,
That's
though.
good.
Thank you. All right, Rich Palmer, you're on deck with Erika Calvert right after him. And now we'd like to bring up Leonor Woodworth.
Hello, I'm Leonor Woodworth. I'm from Rochester, New York. I'm doing humor, Christian fiction, and the title is The Lutheran Ladies' Circle, Plucking One String by Chris Knorr and Barb Froman. No, of course not. Dan stepped into the chatter a little deeper. Lutherans know you have to go to church at least twice a year. Christmas and Easter. Ladies! Vera scowled them into silence. The group had gotten worse since she'd been gone. She suspected they'd been saving up, waiting for her return. We're moving on to new business. Oh, Hetty squeaked, her fuzzy hair wiggling as she waved her hand. Let's have a wiener roast instead. You know, a bonfire, hot apple cider, maybe s'mores. There was a bit of silence while everyone considered this new venture. Vera cleared her throat. Still pagan. In some countries, people have bonfires to drive away evil spirits. Good grief, Vera! What are you, the Halloween police? Hetty scowled. I thought she was the Jell-O police. Correct size of marshmallows, that sort of thing, Kay said. Vera gave both of them a withering look. Isn't hell a place where the fire never dies? Nan said, boldly, tickled at her foray into the verbal volley. Sounds to me like evil enjoys a good fire.
Okay, wonderful. Right on time. Thank you so much, Leonor.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we have Erika Calvert on deck, followed by Stephanie Bentley. And right now we're going to bring up Rich Palmer. Rich?
Hi there. Rich
Hello.
Palmer, Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm reading a ghost thriller, The Lonely Place by Ross Farrelly. I'm awake, George called out, but Harold failed to respond. There was no movement. He stood there as still as George had ever seen him. The swaying that often accompanied his idle stance was non-existent. George sat up and leaned forward. Harold? Nothing. Harold! He screamed this time. Harold's faint outline swelled, and at that moment, horns ruptured from either side of his skull, spiraling skyward until they tore through the ceiling. He tried to retreat, but the heaviness of his legs rooted him beneath his sheets. Harold's head was distorted, his jaw was released a few inches below his chin, and then those lights appeared. The ones identical to his nightmare, which this morning he remembered all too well. George clawed to his right, clawing toward the edge of his bed. His hands were close to touching the floor when a small hand reached from beneath his bed. Its fingers parted, displaying webs that weaved each digit together. It retreated, and so too did George. He leant back, facing the ceiling, but that was a mistake. He knew as soon as he started the decline. "I'm sorry, Michael," George screamed, but his voice was lost to the void. "You're sorry for what, son?" Harold asked.
Awesome, Rich. Thank you so much. All right. Moving right along, we have Stephanie Bentley on deck, followed by Christina Cato. And right now we're bringing up Erika Calvert. Erika.
Hello. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm reading a thriller. It's called Gunning for Penance, written by Renee Polish. The side door was locked. She tapped on the door. Footsteps sounded, and her dad peered out the window. Joe waved. His eyes widened in surprise, and he opened the door quickly. "What are you doing? Why come to the side door?" She slipped inside and shut the door. "You're okay?" she asked. "Of course I'm okay. Why wouldn't I be?" "There's a problem. We need to get out of here. We're all in danger." He looked incredulous. "Joe, what's this about?" "It's Avery's friend Haley. I found documents from the lab that she shouldn't have had, and someone's after me, and they may be after you, too." "Why would anyone be after me?" "They know we're related. Remember, Avery thought she was being followed." "Are you sure you're not making a bigger deal out of things?" "Dad, I don't have time to argue. I know what I'm doing." "What do you think is going to happen?" "They're going to kill us, Dad." "We can stay here." "And then what? We get in some kind of shootout? You've got neighbors, and I'm not putting anybody else in danger." He stared out the window. Well, I wouldn't mind if we scared Glenn across the street. The guy drives me nuts with his early morning lawn mowing.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. Thank you so much. Wonderful job. And there's the timer. All right. Great job, Erika. We are going to move on. We have Christine Cato is on deck, followed by Evelyn McCauley. And right now we have Stephanie Bentley. Stephanie?
Hi, I'm
Hello.
Stephanie Bentley, or Stephanie Rose, and I'm I'm in Los Angeles. I'm reading a romance novel called Happy After All by Maisie Yates.
Great.
It's a truth universally acknowledged, at least in a romance novel, that the moment the main character has her life in order, the exact person she doesn't want to meet will come along and knock all that careful order into disarray. For example, when a respectable motel owner who has decided to focus on her career and her own personal happiness is beginning to feel satisfied with the way she's rebuilding her life, a disastrously gorgeous man will walk in and disrupt everything. When Nathan Hart, room 32, staying for the whole summer, special requests to be left alone, walks into the newly renovated lobby of the Pink Flamingo, I can't escape the feeling that that's exactly what's just happened to me. I'm immobilized by the impact of him. I don't know where to look. I don't know how to breathe. I don't know how to talk to him. I know how I would write him, though. He was tall, with dark brown hair and green eyes that held mysteries she could only guess at. His hands were large and capable. Capable? Well, they do look capable. His forearms muscular, but not from work in a gym. Oh no. He looked like a man who got his muscles from working the land, or fighting a bear, or... Then he makes eye contact with me. That's when I remember I've sworn off men until I pick up every last piece of my shattered self and glue her back together.
Okay, and that is time. Okay, perfect. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Stephanie. All right. We have Evelyn McCauley on deck, followed by David Swerdloff. And up next is Christina Cato. Christina?
Hi, Christina Cato. I'm from Hillsboro, Oregon, and I'm reading a sci-fi romance. The title is Chosen by Stacy Jones. Lily's eyes snapped open as she came to. The view above her nothing like what she last remembered seeing. Her body sprawled on top of something that shifted and moved like sand. Pushing herself into a sitting position, feeling dizzy and nauseous, she took in her surroundings. Lily was in what appeared to be a huge glass box. What the hell is going on? She breathed. Her heart leapt into her throat, choking her as she blinked hard, trying to understand what her eyes were seeing, but her brain refused to believe. Looking around in confusion and alarm, she saw there were small, evenly spaced holes along the tops of the walls and a larger hole in the middle of the ceiling. Through the top of the box, she could just make out a metal ceiling far above. It reminded her of a cargo hold, like in a boat. It was gloomy, as if the lights were dimmed, and the air had a musky scent. Directly in front of her was a thing, in a cell like hers. It looked like a Komodo dragon the size of a grizzly bear, with orange skin and bone-like spikes on the end of its tail. To either side of the creature was a line of glass cells holding a multitude of bizarre and terrifying animals. Her heart felt like it was trying to choke her, and she had to clamp her mouth shut to hold in a scream. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. She finished early. I wasn't ready. Thank you so much. And we are moving on. We have David Swerdloff is on deck, followed by Krystal Hammond. And up next, please welcome Evelyn McCauley.
Hi, everybody. My name's Evelyn McCauley. I'm based in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'll be sharing an excerpt from the spiritual fiction Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah by Richard Bach. Maybe I'm just dumb, Richard, but is there something wrong with writing? In a book? Why not? Do you know how much work... I promise never to write another word again in my life. Oh, sorry, he said. There you have it. I didn't know that. He stepped on the lower wing of the airplane and then into the cockpit. Well, see you around. You don't want to write it. You're sure? Never, I said. Never another word. He shrugged and pulled on his flying gloves, pressed the throttle forward, and the sound of the engine burst and swirled around me until I woke under the wing of the fleet, with the echoes of the dream still in my ears. I was alone. The field was as silent as green autumn snow, soft over the dawn and the world. And then, for the fun of it, before I was fully awake, I reached for my journal and began to write. One Messiah in a world of others, about my friend. There was a master come unto the earth, born in the holy land of Indiana. Thank you.
Okay, perfect timing. Thank you so much, Evelyn. That was awesome. We have Krystal Hammond on deck, followed by Vaishali Sharma. And please welcome David Swerdloff. David?
Hello there, David Swerdloff, a.k.a. Dave Arlington, Pompano Beach, Florida. I'm going to read public domain nonfiction from 1881, and the reason is with the popularity of romance literature today, I thought I'd give you some contrary commentary from the book Plain Facts for Old and Young by John Harvey Kellogg. Yes, the cornflakes guy. We have noted the corrupting influence of bawdy books, which are secretly circulated among the youth of both sexes. The hope is not entirely a vain one that this evil may be controlled. But there seems no remedy for another evil, which ultimately leads to the same result, though by less gross and obscene methods. We refer to the sentimental literature which floods the land. Libraries are full of books which, though they may contain moral teaching, contain as well an element as incompatible with purity of morals as is light with midnight darkness. These tales of courtship, love, and matrimony arouse in children premature fancies and queries. Through their influence, young girls are often led to begin a life of shame long before their parents are aware that the thought of evil has ever entered their minds. You do not have to walk a day or two in an infested district to get the cholera. Well, one wave of moral unhealth will fever the soul forever. However strong your character, never read one of these sentimental books. In the first chapter, if you find the marks of the hooves of the devil, the pictures, or in the style, or in the plot, away with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, David. That was lovely. David is a panel board member, so please show him some love in the chat. Wonderful. All right, we have Krystal Hammond on deck, followed by Vaishali. Oh, I'm sorry, Krystal's up next. Vaishali is on deck, followed by Anne-Marie Lewis. So Krystal Hammond, please come on up.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm Krystal Hammond. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm reading a YA contemporary, Mighty Millie Novak by Elizabeth Holden. The next 5 minutes were going to determine everything about my future. Or at least my future in roller derby, which was all that mattered. I wiped the sweat off my face with the hem of my t-shirt and skated back onto the track. My muscles were warm from the previous hour of drills and skills, and my mind, well, it was as clear as it was going to be. The only thing left? The dreaded 27 in 5. Get it, Mighty? Stork shouted from the sidelines. She'd already done hers, stating 29 easy laps in 5 minutes. I smiled at her weakly, glad for the encouragement, but at the same time, wishing she wouldn't watch. The fewer witnesses, the better. I braced my toe stops on the ground and bent my knees, ready to sprint at the whistle blast. I could do this. I didn't need to compete with Stork. Everyone was always talking about what potential she had. Wouldn't they all be surprised if it were me who was the fastest? I could be more than the goofy one. I could be an actual threat on the track. The whistle blew, startling me. Instead of a perfect sprint on my toe stops, I stumbled, slipped. Oh, God. There went my chance. The end.
All right. Awesome, Krystal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have Anne-Marie Lewis on deck, followed by Erin Grassie. And, Krystal ended early. Vaishali, are you here? Vaishali?
Yes. Hi.
Oh, wonderful. There she is. Go ahead, introduce yourself, and you may begin.
Hi, I'm Vaishali Sharma from India, and I'll be reading a sample from a short story titled A Temporary Matter, and this is written by Jhumpa Lahiri. And the genre is South Asian literary fiction.
Okay.
When she came downstairs, they ate together. They sat together until the candle had nearly burned away. She shifted in her chair, and Shukumar thought that she was about to say something. But instead, she blew out the candle, stood up, turned on the light switch, and sat down again. I want you to see my face when I tell you this, she said gently. His heart began to pound. The day she told him she was pregnant, she had used the very same words, saying them in the same gentle way, turning off the basketball game he'd been watching on television. He hadn't been prepared then. Now he was. Only he didn't want her to be pregnant again. He didn't want to have to pretend to be happy. I've been looking for an apartment and I found one, she said. She wouldn't look at him, but he stared at her. It was obvious that she had rehearsed the lines. It sickened Shukumar, knowing that she had spent the last few days preparing for a life without him. He was relieved, and yet he was sickened. This was what she'd been trying to tell him for the past 4 evenings. This was the point of her game.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Wonderful job, Vaishali. If you're just joining us, welcome to the PANAcon Virtual Narrator Showcase. We are showcasing narrators, each taking a turn to perform something wonderful. And so far, everyone's been so great. We have Erin Grassie on deck, followed by Lisa Romaine. And up next is Anne-Marie Lewis.
Hello, I'm Anne-Marie Lewis. I'm in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. This is from a short story by Kay Chronister. It's in the horror genre, and it's called Rusula's Wake. The morning after the wake, Jane overslept. Past sunrise, past breakfast time, well into mid-morning. She opened her eyes and rolled over to look at the clock on the wall, a rare Paley concession to batteries. She was surprised no one had woken her. Even on days when they didn't have school, Devin and Ainsley never slept past dawn. They would have been up for hours by now, their chores finished, the barn doors shut. She should hear their shouts outside, the older children's hollering interspersed with Rosemary's little shrieks. Jane put on her bathrobe and work boots. Downstairs was still and yellow with sunshine. She was surprised to see a stack of dishes in the sink. 3 plates, no silverware, no cups, blood glistening on the rim of each dish. She lifted her eyes to the window and then could only stare. The barn cat's grave had been dug up. A pile of dirt lay mounded beside the hole, the wet, mangled remains of a cardboard box on the ground nearby. She didn't have to know that the grave was empty. The cat was gone. 3 plates, not 2, she thought.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Wonderful job. We have Lisa Romaine. Lisa Romaine is on deck, followed by Carrie Brewer. Please welcome Erin Grassie to the stage. Erin Grassie, there she is.
Hi, I'm Erin Grassie. I'm recording out of Oakland, California. I'll be reading a middle grade fiction today. It's called Toast of Destiny by Dash Shearer. A blinding white light flashed through the kitchen as a bolt of lightning struck the house. The power surged, the lights flickered wildly, and every appliance gasped in terror. Toby felt a jolt of energy unlike anything before, like 1,000 slices of toast all popping up at once. Just then, as quickly as it came, the storm passed. The kitchen was quiet again. The clock on the oven blinked 12. Everything seemed normal. Except for one small, very strange thing. The next morning, when Mrs. Thompson dropped 2 slices of bread into Toby's slots and pressed the lever, he felt a sudden urge, something new. And before he could stop himself, Toby spoke. "How do you want it today? Light and crispy or golden perfection?" Mrs. Thompson screamed. The toast popped up in panic. Carl, the coffee maker, gurgled in shock. Toby blinked. Oops. What? Mrs. Thompson whispered. Toby gulped, or at least he would have if he had a throat. Good morning, he said sheepishly. Mrs. Thompson did what any rational person would do when their toaster suddenly spoke. She screamed again.
All right, great job. Thanks, Erin. All right, coming up next, let's see, on deck is Carrie Brewer, followed by Arielle DeLisle, I believe it is. And up next is Lisa Romaine. Lisa?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Romaine. I'm reading, I'm in LA, and I'm reading a horror genre book called The Wild Dark by Kathrin Silva. Bitter cold nipped at me within seconds of stepping out. Despite wanting to slip back inside, I closed the door behind me, then held the bat up defensively. The scream tore up into the air mere feet in front of me. Panic skittered across my brain. I scanned the snow-covered streets as I walked to the edge of the deck. What the hell was I doing out here? Go back inside. I couldn't. That scream uncoiled a thread of recklessness in me, something I hadn't sensed ever since I'd lost Brody. Something was out there. Who or whatever it was probably needed help. Something crashed through the brush off to my far right. I swept the flashlight across the driveway into the trees, but moments too late to catch anything. The wind whistled against the cabin and shook the trees. The sound of sticks and shrub crackling was still getting closer. "Who's out there?" I called, my voice barely projecting. The sounds in the underbrush suddenly ceased. My nerve wavered. What if this was the person who'd been walking on my deck last night? The crashing in the thicket commenced again, still growing closer, louder, greater. It didn't sound like a person. It sounded much bigger. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Nice job, Lisa. All right, please continue to talk up and celebrate our narrators in the chat. And also the YouTube chat. Don't forget we have a YouTube live going on right now. If you just joined us, welcome to the PANAcon Virtual Narrator Showcase. And on deck, I have Arielle DeLisle, followed by Dominique Franceschi. And up next is Carrie Brewer. Carrie?
Hi, my name is Carrie Brewer. I am based in Nashville, Tennessee, and this is a little historical fiction piece.
From The Second Life of Muriel West by Amanda Skenendor. "The spot on the back of your hand," he asked. "How long has it been there?" She glanced at the pale patch of skin at the base of her thumb. What the devil did this have to do with her burned finger? "This little thing? Can't say I remember." "And when you scalded your finger, curling your hair, you didn't feel any pain?" She shook her head. It was the smell that had alerted her, like meat in a frying pan. "It's just a burn, a trifle. I thought you might prescribe some ointment, maybe a little whiskey while you're at it." Still, that serious expression. She reached out and batted his arm. "Oh, come on, that was a joke. You know I can't stand that cheap medicinal stuff." He mustered a weak smile while brushing off the sleeve of his jacket, where she had touched him. "Is your husband home?" He ran off to the studio. "Be glad you missed him. Charlie's been—" "Muriel." His eyes fixed her with unsettling intensity. "I'd like you to go to County General." "The hospital? Whatever for?" "I'd like them to have a look at your hand. I'll telephone ahead to say that they'll expect you. Perhaps I should give them an alias when I call?" She drained what remained in her highball. "Tell them to expect a Mrs. Pauline Marvin."
Okay, awesome. Carrie, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Dominique Franceschi, you are on deck, followed by Gwyn Clark. And right now, please welcome Arielle DeLisle. Arielle?
Hi, I'm Arielle DeLisle from Phoenix, Arizona, and this is from the mystery thriller called Stolen Baby by L.G. Davis. As I swing open the door to the living room, I see Mom sitting on the couch with Tom. She's cradling a tiny bundle in her arms. Her usually somber expression has been replaced by a gentle smile. "Mom, what's going on?" "Hey, honey," Mom says, her voice and demeanor completely transformed. "Look who we found on our doorstep. Someone left her there." My gaze meets Tom's, and he avoids my eyes for just a moment too long. In a split second, I understand everything. Why he was in Amberfield yesterday when he should have been home with Mom. The baby in my mom's arms has to be Lauren's. She must have given it to him in the end, and he hasn't told Mom the truth. But there is so much happiness in this room, so much joy in my mother's gaze. It's heady and intoxicating. Without thinking, I find myself asking to hold the baby that has brought back the light in my mother's eyes. After dinner, while my mom is upstairs with the baby, I find Tom in the kitchen washing dishes. As soon as I enter the room, he stiffens and stops scrubbing. "You know," he murmurs. "Yes, you lied to me." Thank you.
All right. Perfect timing. Thanks so much, Arielle. All right. Let's see. On deck, we have Gwyn Clark, followed by Sara Hannan. And up right now, welcome Dominique Franceschi.
You. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, yes. My name is Dominique Franceschi, or just Dom. I'm a Colombian-born, LA-based, bilingual audiobook narrator, and this is a historical fantasy excerpt from Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibáñez.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Catalina sees me at the mouth of the alley and hurtles into my arms. "You're here. You're really here. When I got your message, I couldn't believe it. Magical flying letters, Jimena?" I shiver. I don't have much time. There's a guard, well, several, and I find myself unwilling to shatter the bright moment of seeing her, my friend, my condesa. "Catalina, I want to ask you something." My throat feels dry. "What do you think about peace?" "Peace?" she hisses. I tell her everything. How Princesa Tamaya wants to end the conflict and unite everyone. I tell her about the lives we could have if she relinquished the throne. Her face becomes bleached of all color. She breaks down. I reach for her, but she shoves me away. You want me to forget what happened to our families? Everyone I loved has left me. They even turned you against me. Catalina, I say, stop. I haven't been turned. I've been informed. Do you want another war? I hate them. I hate them. She isn't hearing me. Do you really want to be queen? Of course I want to be queen. If you forget the throne, you'll be free to be the person you're supposed to be. She flinches with every word. And you think this Tamaya will make a better queen than me? I force myself to push the words out, knowing how this will hurt. But she needs to know the truth. She needs to know how I feel. I do.
Yeah. All right. Perfect timing. Awesome, Dom. Thank you. All right. We have Sara Hannan on deck, followed by Richard Nichols. And let's see. Up next is Gwyn Clark. Gwyn?
Yes.
There she is.
All right. Good. Ma'am?
Do you have video? Oh, there you are.
Yeah,
I
right.
see you
Okay.
now.
Great. I'm Gwyn Clark. I live in Quakertown, Pennsylvania, which is a small town north of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I'm reading a children's book called The Library Lion by Michelle Knudsen. One day, a lion came into the library. He walked right past the circulation desk and up into the stacks. Mr. McBee ran down the hall to the head librarian's office. "Miss Merriweather," he called. "No running," said Miss Merriweather, without looking up. "But there's a lion," said Mr. McBee, "in the library." "Is he breaking any rules?" asked Miss Merriweather. She was very particular about rule breaking. "Well, no," said Mr. McBee. "Not really." "Then let him be." The lion wandered all around the library. He sniffed the card catalog. He rubbed his head against the new book collection. Then he padded over to the story corner and went to sleep. No one was sure what to do. There weren't any rules about lions in the library. Soon it was time for story hour. There weren't any rules about lions at story hour either. The story lady seemed a little nervous, but she read out the first book's title in a good, clear voice. The lion looked up. The story lady kept reading. The lion stayed for the next story, and the story after that. He waited for another story, but the children began to walk away. "Story hour is over."
Okay. Thanks so much, Gwen. Nice job. All right. Up next on deck, Richard Nichols, followed by Andrea Aal. And please welcome to the stage right now, Sara Hannan. Sara?
Hi, it says the host has disabled my video, so I can't.
Oh, no. Can we get video for Sara?
Oops. Sorry, can you try again? I accidentally hit no. Because I'm. Okay. Hi. I'm Sara. I live in Connecticut, and I will be reading from A Bargain So Bloody by Vasilisa Drake. It is a slow burn vampire romance. Nelson was still at his perch, a smirk on his lips. He slid a glass jar over to me, a healing balm, weak and non-magical. This day just got better and better. "You're to see the new prisoner, cell 48, block D." The one that had set off the other prisoners screaming. I was so tired, I dared to ask, "Can this wait until tomorrow?" This fellow could use a woman's touch after the day he had. The guards were quite diligent with him. I heard they didn't leave the cell until after nightfall. Besides, I hear the new guy is a night owl. His little joke barely registered. All that whipping had been on one prisoner? I snatched the balm from the desk and left before Nelson could come up with some other task. My footsteps were nearly silent as I approached the cell. I slid the key into the lock and opened the door. the metal letting out a loud, angry creak. A giant glint of red flared against the darkness. A rat? Those eyes were far too big for rats. I dropped the key with a clang. Nelson had sent me to tend to a vampire. My stomach revolted. I swallowed down the vial and set my cup down, grateful I hadn't downed it on my way over. Is that supper I smell?
All right, excellent. Thanks so much, Sarah. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, and I must mention Sarah is also one of our PANA board members. Nice job. All right, we have on deck Andrea Aal, followed by Jim Patton. And please welcome to the stage right now, Richard Nichols. Richard?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. And
There you
now
go.
I see your video. Okay,
Amy.
you're up.
I'm Richard Nichols. I live in Okotoks, Alberta, which is just south of Calgary, and I'm reading an excerpt from Daddyman's Flying Adventures, A Lifetime in the Air, which is an autobiographical memoir by David Clinthorne. While I was a member of the Quantico Marine Base Flying Club, I needed to take an obligatory checkout flight with one of their licensed instructors. As luck would have it, I got Waldo Pepper. Robert Redford once starred in a movie about the flying exploits of a World War I veteran named Waldo Pepper. It was set during the barnstorming years, when guys flying surplus World War I Jennies took people up for joyrides at county fairs. The movie was fiction, but this Waldo Pepper was a real Marine aviator, a Vietnam veteran, a radio intercept officer who flew in the back seat of an F-4 Phantom fighter. He was a quiet man with none of the swagger you might expect. He was simply a guy who loved flying and was gaining hours by taking on instruction and checkout work. I respected his calm teaching demeanor. Out of curiosity, I asked him if anything ever upset him while he was in a plane. He just said no. I took that to imply that after riding in the backseat of a jet during combat missions, student shenanigans didn't bother him. About a week after we flew together, Waldo earned his airline transport rating and got a job as a commercial pilot. He left the Marines and I never saw him again. I do, however, have an endorsement in my old logbook signed by the great Waldo Pepper.
All right, nice job. Thanks, Richard. Finished early. Appreciate you. Next up on deck is Jim Patton, followed by Sara Morsey. And up next, please welcome to the stage, Andrea Aal. Andrea?
Hi. Hey.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, my curtain is open. Hold on. Hi.
We didn't notice.
Okay. My name is Andrea Aal. I say Andrea as in mitochondria. It's easier to remember. I live in San Jose. Well, I live in a suburb of San Jose, California. And I'm going to do a memoir called A Really Good Day by Ayelet Waldman. Though I managed to be one of the only neurotic Jewish kids growing up in the 70s and 80s to stay out of a shrink's office, I did eventually dip my toe in those waters. Or to be more accurate, I waded into therapy with the eagerness of a dehydrated camel sloshing into an oasis mud puddle. And even though I'm a cynic about all things countercultural, nothing makes me roll my eyes faster than a shiksa gliding down the kombucha aisle in her Lululemons. I have, on occasion, abandoned mainstream therapy for the decidedly alternative. Like in my 8th month of pregnancy with my second child. Desperate to avoid another cesarean section, I engaged in a series of sessions of hypnotherapy, during which I rebirthed my oldest child. This would, the hypnotist promised, guarantee a vaginal birth this time. I lay on her couch, my knees bent up around my ears, as she guided me in excruciating detail through the vaginal birth I did not have. Together, we imagined every twisting contraction, the burn of crowning, the exertion of pushing. I panted, I moaned, I gritted my teeth and bore down. It turns out that the only thing one is guaranteed to produce by such efforts is a nauseous and propulsive fart.
Okay. Thank you, Andrea. All right. We are moving right along. We have, let's see, on deck is Sara Morsey, Dawn Davis, you're on standby. And up next, please welcome Jim Patton. Jim?
Hello, I'm Jim Patton from Carson City, Nevada. This is some contemporary fiction, Leave the Troubled Skull Behind by Lena Patton. Baxter turned, and that's when everyone else in the bank began to scream, splintering from the line, running toward the walls, ducking under chairs, because there, bursting through the doors, were 4 masked men carrying guns. Baxter stood still as he watched them move, as if in a choreographed dance. It was quite organized, really. Old school. Baxter was impressed. And when he realized their masks were presidents, JFK, Trump, Nixon, Biden, he couldn't help but laugh. What a crew! Oh, this is a shame, Baxter said, chuckling as he watched everyone give up their cells. This would be excellent content, he said, gesturing toward the T-shirt girl as she reluctantly released her phone. Baxter was the only one left standing in the center of the room. He didn't have a cell phone, and as JFK, the man with the bin, approached him, he raised his hands. Look, call me a late-to-the-game Luddite. It is what it is, he said, shrugging. You better not be fucking with me, buddy, Trump said as he hopped off the desk, pushing JFK to the side and standing in front of Baxter. He pressed his gun to the space above Baxter's belly button.
All right. Nice job, Jim. Thank you. Leaving us on the edge there. All right. We have Dawn Davis is on deck, followed by Erika Leonguerrero. And let's welcome Sara Morsey. Sara Morsey, please. Sara, unmute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. It says unable
okay.
to start video. Here we go.
And we just need video.
Hi.
There you are. Hi.
Thank you.
All right, introduce yourself and you may begin.
Sara Morsey here. I'm in Gainesville, Florida, and I will be reading from Colum Tobin's historical fiction, The Testament of Mary, which I have lost on my screen, but I'll get it.
Okay, well, while she is doing that, if you just joined us, you are here at the PANAcon Virtual Narrator Showcase, where we have been showcasing narrator talent for the last hour and a half, and we're still going strong. We have quite a few more people left to go, and we are celebrating not only their talent, but the use of a human voice for audiobooks. So hope you are enjoying yourself. Please continue to celebrate all of our narrators in the chat, both in our Zoom and on YouTube. I can come back to you, Sara. Do you want to?
Okay, I'm here. I'm so sorry.
Do you have it?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. Go right ahead.
Colum Tobin's The Testament of Mary. They appear more often now, both of them. And on every visit, they seem more impatient with me and with the world. There is something hungry and rough in them, a brutality boiling in their blood, which I have seen before and can smell, as an animal that is being hunted can smell. But I am not being hunted now. Not anymore. I am being cared for and questioned softly and watched. They think that I do not know the elaborate nature of their desires. But nothing escapes me now, except sleep. Sleep escapes me. Maybe I am too old to sleep, or there is nothing further to be gained from sleep. Maybe I do not need to dream or need to rest. Maybe my eyes know that soon they will be closed forever. I will stay awake if I have to. I will come down these stairs as the dawn breaks, as the dawn insinuates its rays of light into this room. I have my own reasons to watch and wait. Before the final rest comes this long awakening, and it is enough for me to know that it will end.
Okay, thanks so much, Sarah. Very nice job. All right, we are moving on. We have Erika Leonguerrero on deck, followed by Maria Makis, and up next is Dawn Davis.
Hi there.
Dawn, hello.
I'm Dawn Davis in Joshua Tree, California. I'm reading from a literature memoir called This is the Story of a Happy Marriage by Anne Paget. I was always going to be a writer. I've known this for as long as I've known anything. It was an accepted fact in my family by the time I had entered first grade, which makes no sense as I was late to both read and write. In fact, I was a terrible student when I was young. I've always believed the reason I was passed from grade to grade was that I could put together some raw version of a story or poem, even if the words were misspelled and half of them were written backwards. Like a cave child scratching pictures on the wall of bison, fire, and dancing, I showed an early knack for content. Only writing kept me from being swept into the dust heap of third grade, and for this reason, I not only loved writing, I felt a strong sense of loyalty to it. I may have been shaky about tying my shoes or telling time, but I was sure about my career, and I considered this certainty the greatest gift of my life. I can't explain where the knowledge came from, only that I hung on to it and never let it go. Knowing that I wanted to write made my existence feel purposeful and gave me a sense of priorities as I was growing up. Did I want to get a big job and make a lot of money? No, I wanted to be a writer, and writers were poor. Did I want to get married, have children, live in a nice house? No, again. By the time I was in middle school, I'd figured out that a low overhead and few dependents would increase my time to work. Thank you.
Okay, and moving right along, we have Maria Makis on deck, followed by Courtney Fabrizio. Up next is Erika Leonguerrero. Hopefully I got that right. Erika?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Erika Leonguerrero. I'm from Guam, but I'm currently in Virginia. I'm going to be reading a YA piece from a book called Superdoll by Aaron Schultz, excuse me. Now, sweetie, why don't you tell me why you don't want to go? Cecilia said as she led me outside. I hesitated, and then it all came out in a long rush. Because it's not really my thing. I hate stuffy parties, I'm not good with protocol, and I have nothing to wear, and I think my hair is offending people down here. There are a million good reasons to skip it and 0 good reasons to go. I have a good reason. Because he invited you. This is a huge opportunity. The man is highly reclusive and hates outsiders. He practically moves under the cover of darkness. How comforting. What I'm trying to say is things are changing. Last year, he opened the island to tourists, and this summer, he let the Institute come here. Yes, but why me? The scholarship, of course. And look at it this way. If he abruptly changes his mind about tourism, you will be one of the few people who can claim to have met him. What a privilege. He wants to meet with you, Piper, You simply have to go. I can't do it. Even if I could go in there and hold a conversation, what about my clothes and my hair? Cecilia pulled on one of my dreadlocks thoughtfully. What about asking one of the other girls to borrow something? No way, I don't dress like a macaroon. Cecilia giggled. I admit, they are a little overdone for the tropics. A little? What about something from my closet? Leave your attire to me. She handed me back the invitation. I sat there, pouting in silence, feeling defeated. Cecilia watched me with a patient smile. Fine, I finally said, shoving the invitation into my purse. I'll go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, nice work. Okay, we are moving on with the program. We have Courtney Fabrizio on deck, followed by Dawn Cromwell. And up next, please welcome Maria Makis. Maria? Hello.
Hi, I'm Maria Makis. I'm reading an excerpt from The Spy Coast, a spy thriller by Tess Gerritsen. I turn right and step into the kitchen, avoiding the floorboard that invariably creaks. All is as I left it, except for one thing, the scent of an unfamiliar shampoo. That troublesome floorboard creaks behind me. I turn and face the intruder. She seems remarkably unruffled, despite the fact the barrel of my Walter is now pointed at her chest. "Hello, Maggie Bird," she says. "I don't believe we've met. Why did you choose that particular name? Why not? Let me guess. Bird, as in free as a bird? A girl can dream." "There's really no need for that," she says, nodding at my Walter. "I'll decide that. Right now, I'm looking at someone who entered my house uninvited. I have no idea who you are or why you're here. I'm here because we have a problem, and we could use your help. Diana Ward has dropped off the radar." For a moment, I just stare at her, trying to read her face, but all I see is cool perfection and an utterly expressionless face. "Alive or dead?" I ask.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Maria. All right, we are moving on with Dawn Cromwell on deck, Emma Faye on standby, and please welcome Courtney Fabrizio to the stage. Courtney?
I'm trying to get my video to start. It says unable to start video.
Okay, our
Let's see.
staff backstage will help you with that.
Okay.
I can hear you,
Oh.
so that's a good thing.
I think we got it. Am I there? Okay.
There you
My
are.
name is Courtney Fabrizio. I am in Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm reading middle grade. The name is Extraordinary by Miriam Spitzer Franklin. Honey, Mom said, reaching for my hand. Look at me. I did. Mom's mouth was a straight line, and her eyes didn't sparkle with the excitement I felt. I need you to listen. The Liddells are considering surgery to help with the seizures, but they can't bring the old Anna back. Do you understand? I blinked a few times. I wish I could tell you something different, but there is no cure for brain damage. No cure. The words echoed in my head. I pulled my hand away from Mom's and walked over to the counter. Then I got out the bread and peanut butter and began to make my lunch. Mom didn't know what she was talking about. Doctors couldn't predict the future. There were new cures for diseases all the time. Scientists had figured out how to make blind and deaf people see and hear, and I'd even read an article in Scholastic News about a paralyzed girl who learned to walk again. Without seizures, Anna will be much more comfortable, Mom continued. I know, I said. Mom got up and poured a glass of milk for me. Pansy? I sat down at the table with my peanut butter sandwich. Yeah? If you ever need to talk, you know I'm here for you, right? Yeah.
All right. Fantastic, Courtney. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have Emma Faye on deck and Patty Neiman. You are on standby. And coming up next, please welcome Dawn Cromwell to the stage. Dawn? Hello.
Hi, all. I am Dawn Cromwell from Denver, Colorado. And thank you to everybody who's been hanging out till the end here. I am going to be reading a historical fantasy, The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. And we'll get started. Tinbu rushed to collect the bedraggled cat, cuddling it close to his chest. The cat made a sound between a death rattle and a wheeze in response. "You're, Mouser?" DeLisle asked, sounding doubtful. Tinbu blushed. We're still working on the catching mice part. But Piasum noticed a spider the other day, even put a paw on it." He shared this accomplishment with the pride of a father announcing his child's marriage, and I rubbed my temples, feeling a headache come on. "Tinbu, please tell me that you did not choose the only cat incapable of catching mice to bring aboard my ship. What does it eat?" Tinbu crossed his arms defensively over the creature. "Piasum is not an it, and she eats from my rations alone. The crew is very fond of her. She has brought us only good fortune." "You were all about to be crucified for murder and brigandry. Until, in an astonishing bit of luck, my best friends turned up to save me." Tinbu snuggled the cat to his face and kissed it very loudly. "My lucky million-dinar cat."
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Dawn. All right. We have on deck Patty Neiman. And please welcome Emma Faye to the stage. Emma?
Hi. All right.
There
we go. Okay, hi. I'm Emma Faye, aka the Clean Reads Queen. I am doing a middle grade paranormal called Bigfoot's Big Blunder by R.J. Sims. Squatchville was a town with priorities. Sure, the sidewalks had cracks big enough to swallow small shoes, and the library only had 5 books that weren't about Bigfoot. But who needed fixed sidewalks or modern literature when you had the world's largest collection of questionable Bigfoot artifacts? Joey Jinx Jenkins stared out the school bus as it rattled toward Bigfoot National Forest. Today was the 3rd grade tradition known as the annual Squatch Hunt. It was the highlight of the school year. Or, in Joey's case, a 24-hour-long reminder that his bad luck was contagious. "All right, kids," announced Mr. Waddle, their bald and overly enthusiastic science teacher, as he wobbled down the bus aisle. "Today we'll be citizen scientists. Eyes peeled, notebooks ready, and remember, Bigfoot sightings mean extra credit." Joey groaned. Extra credit? That wouldn't fix his reputation as the kid who accidentally glued his shoe to his head during the last month's art project. "Don't look so nervous," said his best friend, Shelley McGraw. She was the only person in Squatchville who seemed immune to his bad luck. "What's the worst that could happen?" Joey opened his mouth to answer, but the bus hit a bump, sending Mr. Waddle's clipboard flying into the air. It smacked the driver, who swerved sharply, and the entire bus lurched. Joey clutched his seat as Shelley cackled. "Okay, fair point."
All right. Fantastic. Thanks, Emma. All right. And last but not least, we have Patty Neiman. Please come to the stage and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Patty Neiman. I live in Monmouth, Illinois, and I'm going to read some magical realism from a book called Seven Daughters by Jessica Lowry. Artemis Hartshorn Buckley stood on the front porch of the Queen Anne. His hair was slicked back, and his mustache and beard were trimmed. He wore a pressed white cotton shirt, dark green slacks, and polished shoes. He clutched his fedora in his right hand. A tourmaline breeze rolled over his shoulders and kissed Helena on the earlobes. It smelled of thawing earth and cherry sweet tarts. The caress made her smile, as did the wrist corsage Artemis held out to her. The centerpiece was a hothouse lily, white and honeyed, surrounded by tiny blue hyacinth buds and daffodils the color of lemon pie. "It's beautiful." Helena held her hand out. Artemis slipped the band around her wrist. When his warm hands brushed hers, she yelped. "Did I shock you?" "Something like that." She hurried ahead of him so he wouldn't see her blush. So what if his touch had shot electricity to every tip of her? That was no reason to act like a schoolgirl. In fact, it was crucial that she keep her head on straight. She wasn't going to fall for Artemis, certainly not. He was dating her mother. "I mentioned I'm only interested in a friendship?" Helena asked. She should be forthright when it involved respecting someone else's feelings. "3 times, Artemis said agreeably. "And that's only since I showed up on your porch."
All right, wonderful. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Patty. Well, we have reached the end. I can't believe it. It was so fun. I truly enjoyed everyone's readings. The performances were really good. And I just have to say that PANA has a talented bunch of narrators. We are a talented bunch. Thank you all for joining us. I would like to turn it over to our fearless team leader, our PANAcon team leader, Christine Mascott, for some closing words.
Hey, everybody. What an amazing night. Hannah is so proud of all of you. This was great. We hope that this acts as kind of your online demos. This recording is going to stay up, and we hope it serves as a showcase to showcase the incredible talent that we have at PANA, because you all are PANA. We are narrators for narrators. A few people I want to thank to make this whole thing possible. We want to thank our sponsors for the entire conference of PANAcon, Acting for Audio, Audiobooks at Sea, Whole Story, Narrators Roundtable, Podium, and Prompt, and our regular sponsors of PANA in general. We want to thank the whole board of directors and especially the PANAcon planning team. A lot of work went into the conference week. Here today, especially, I would like to thank Christopher Johnson, who is our online producer, Melinda Cumming, who was the amazing behind the scenes person, highlighting everybody and being this amazing silent presence that just made everything flow. So thank you, Melinda. Jennifer Pickens was monitoring our YouTube chat today, so you probably had some conversation with her over there. Thank you, Jennifer. And the big thank you today goes to Corinne Paul, our MC, who put this entire part of the PANAcon program together. So yay, Corinne. Thank you so much. You are so appreciated. And yeah, big thank you to all of the wonderful readers tonight, because you are PANA, and this is a wonderful showcase. So hope it's not the last. And I hope you all had fun, and send your friends to watch the link later. So everybody have a great night, and see you at PANAcon.
Good night, everybody. Post it on Facebook, post it on your socials.
Okay. I'm going to end the meeting. Good night, everybody.